prefer to use a handheld, or do you want to use the podium mic?
I can do either. I feel like handhelds usually what's easier to do.
We have a handheld down
I
there.
may do that one so that way I can just.
Okay, because you can either present from here. I mean, with the handheld, you can move. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
can, like,
that's kind of nicer, but I don't.
yeah, try. Let me switch over. And then you can go ahead and move around and you talk to your friends. Thank you, sir. Oh, Jeff is on. Yes. Well, then we almost. Well, if we. But check the. Officially. Yeah, tell them.
The Senate will now come to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will now be led by Chief of Staff Tax, followed by a moment of silence and reflection.
If willing and able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated.
The clerk will now call the roll. Remember, if you are proxying for an individual, when you hear their name, please say proxy so we can get an accurate telling on quorum.
Apple, Baber, Barr, Bracy, Bryant, Calder, Creed, Darby, Durham, Galavati, Galt, Goldstein, Hamilton, Harvey, Heater, Hensley, Hurd, Kennedy, Kuhn, Kwame, Keen, Lazarenu, Malachi, Miller, Montalto, Morgan, Nelson, Wynn, Peterson, Ravi, Robinson, Sane, Badlamani, Vaught, Wenzel, Whitehead.
Does Chairwoman Baber have a proxy? Right. All right. With a quorum being present, is there a motion to approve the Journal of August 30th, 2023 as found online? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Is there a motion for an extended recess to conduct the student government organizational-wide meeting? There's been a motion for an extended recess. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in an extended recess, and everyone can move down, if you would like, for the organizational-wide meeting.
Thank you guys for coming out tonight, and thank you, senators, for letting us have this time to meet as a full organization. It's always exciting to see everybody in one room. Just a heads up, our vice president is sick tonight, so her chief of staff, Brandon, will be filling in for her. So wishing her a quick recovery, but we'll get started. So first, we're going to go over the purpose of SG meetings and why we have them, future dates. Y'all can go ahead and put those on your calendar. We'll briefly touch on our strategic plan, which you can find the full one on the website. We'll go over graphics and social media request process, internal funding request process, external organization funding process, just frequently asked questions in case student organizations ask you. We'll introduce officers that serve all branches just so you guys have their information. We'll introduce our advisors and then go over some fun student government opportunities. And we'll be sure to wrap up by 6 to give Senate the time that they need. So today is basically nuts and bolts of student government, all the stuff you need to know to succeed this year. Tuesday, October 3rd at 5 p.m. Make sure you mark that on your calendar. We're going to have a Q&A with President Amaritas. And then Wednesday, November 15th, we'll wrap up our student government-wide meetings for this semester with the strategic plan check-in. I'm going to let Cameron take this.
All right. Hi, everybody. As you saw in the group meet over the summer, we're super excited to unveil our strategic plan for the organization and for the 4 executive offices. This is a condensed version that will appear on our website on the sidebar, but if you were to click 2023-2024 strategic plan, you will then be taken to our non-condensed version, which is a lovely 9 to 10 page reader for those that are very, very interested. But overall, we kind of took all of our planning and took all the things that we wanted to accomplish this year and put them into 3 main buckets. These buckets drive everything that we do, whether that be in the senatorial branch, whether that be in the executive branch, or in our financial structures. So those 3 buckets are increasing student engagement and outreach, and we do that through a number of different ways. You know, we're really focusing on the university community, but also the holistic wellness of each student. We also want to make sure that student org funding, since that is one of our primary tasks as a student government, is equitable and fair to all student organizations on campus. But we also want to spread awareness on campus about our organization, but also about the tangible things we can do in our organization through different effective programming events and initiatives. Another bucket that we kind of made our plan around was improving student government culture and community. That is a really, really big push for us for this year, is to make sure not only are we serving the student body, but we're serving each other. We're holding each other accountable, and we're having an environment in student government that you want to stay in and that you actively want to participate in. So we do that through increasing student representation. So that's making sure that the student population is accurately shown in our student government, whether that be in the senatorial branch or staffs or cabinet or anything like that. We want to enhance collaboration between branches, so that's making sure that in Senate we're working with our cabinet counterparts, and cabinet counterparts are working with their senatorial counterparts to make sure that we're serving the student body effectively. We also want to increase relevance and resourcefulness amongst the student body, right? If you were to go up to a random student on Green Street, I hope that they would know what student government is and what we do, but they may not know. And so that's part of our mission, is to kind of increase our resourcefulness, but also our relevance to the student body. Why are we here? Why student government? Why did you join this organization? And making sure that we're actually serving the people that put us into office or appointed us rather than serving ourselves. Ooh. Hold on, I think the projector. There we go. And then our last bucket is advocating for the student experience. That's probably one of our biggest drives here in student government, is making sure that we're advocating for the people that put us into office. This is really kind of the nuts and bolts of what we're doing, right? We're making sure that the Carolina Core is being revitalized and making sure that you're taking classes and the students are taking classes that are actually relevant to your adult life and not classes that you may not use. We want to make sure that external funding is more user-friendly. We want to improve professor and staff accountability. We want to alleviate student parking congestion and concerns. That's a big one. We all know parking is a big issue on this campus. So we want to make sure that we're working with the Parking and Transportation Office to provide equitable and tangible solutions to those issues. And overall, we want to improve the sense of belonging to all students on the campus. We want to make sure that every student leaves and comes to USC with a sense of home, and I know this is going to sound cheesy, but also with a sense of the remarkable we, right? We want to make sure that every student feels that they can connect with each other and they can really get plugged into campus. Now, this was a very condensed version. If you want to see specifically what each office is doing in these points, please, I highly encourage you to click on our website and go in the group meet to see our full strategic plan and see how you can fit into it all. But yeah. All right.
Hey everyone, my name's Brandon. I'm Aubriana's chief of staff. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it, but from the vice president's office, we wanted to talk to you guys about communications and programming. We're the branch that's in charge of graphics requests. We ask that if you guys do have a graphics request, please get it into our team at least 2 weeks before you need it. That way we have ample time to prepare for it, and our team has the opportunity to make the graphic that you want to see for that event. We have just nominated a new comms director. Miss Maddie Work would be in charge of the graphics, and then our other new nominee for comms director, Miss Kat Anna, she's going to take care of the social media content we post. For that, we're also going to ask that you request 2 weeks out what you want to see on the SC Student Gov Instagram, and we'll be able to work with you to sort of see if that's something we're going to put up, and if it is, how we can do that in order to get your message across, as well as stay with the theme that we sort of have going. And finally, from our office, we also run programming. Programming requests are a bit bigger than a graphics request or a social media post, so for that, we're going to ask that you fill out the form on Garnet Gate a month before the programming event. When you fill that form out, our programming director, Miss Anya Surface, over here, she will be in contact with you, and she will be your point of information for all things programming as we work on this event with you. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions about the Vice President's branch or what we do, or if you want to get involved with FROCO, don't hesitate to come and reach out to us. Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone. So I'm just going to quickly run you guys through the internal request process. So this is when you want to hold an event through SG for any of your different departments or programming. So the first thing is obviously to come up with your idea and to come up with a little bit of a plan for it. Obviously you can't make a request if you don't know what you're requesting, so just kind of think through that process. And then the next is to go to one of the execs. So if you're under the vice president's office, that would be Aubriana or Emmy or Cameron or anyone who applies, or even me. And then the next is to get their approval and to make a request on Garnet Gate under the purchase request form. So you'll see the questions on that. They're pretty straightforward. Obviously, if you have any questions, you're always free to come ask me or any of the execs, but you just need written approval from your exec saying that they said that that was a good idea and that they want it. And then after that, I will look over your purchase request form and make sure everything looks good, and then I will push it forward, and we will be able to get your reimbursement, whether it's a direct reimbursement, which would be if you're using something like Horseshoe Catering and are going to get just a direct payment from the school, or if you bought something yourself and you're going to get reimbursed for that. On that note, don't buy something yourself if you didn't get approval for it through your purchase request. Don't spend your own money unless you got approval and that everything is checked out. That's just a way to keep you safe and to make sure that you're not spending your own money. And then finally, if you are getting a reimbursement for yourself, it does take 4 to 6 weeks to get that check back. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer though. So just be aware of that when you're spending money, and never spend money you don't have. And then this is maybe feels less applicable for you, but it's just good general knowledge. When organizations want to request external funding, they also have to go through Garnet Gate. They have to be a treasurer or a president of their student org. They have to attend a treasurer's workshop, which there's one tonight at 6 p.m. And then we are also going to start having them once a month on the first Friday of every month. And then from there, they can learn how to do those requests. They submit it on Garnet Gate, and from there, they meet with the finance committee if the request is over $500, and they can request for an event, a conference, or a tournament. And if you have any more questions on that, obviously, you can reach out to me or any of the comptrollers. But yeah, pass it off back to Emmy.
So just to run you guys through a couple important people that you'll utilize this year. Our Attorney General this year is Maeve Smith. She's wonderful. She has a lot of experience with codes. If you have any questions about constitutionality, that goes to Maeve, not Joseph. So Joseph is our Chief Justice, so he handles everything Constitutional Counsel. But if you have codes questions, they all go to Maeve. Also, our Director of Wellness, Theo Washington, he's going to be planning some fun internal events this year, but he's also a great resource if you just need somebody to listen and help you figure out your ways in student government. And then our Elections Commission this year is Dylan Pettimores and Natalie Trimble. So senators, if you're thinking about any legislation relating to elections, they would be your people to talk to. And if anybody else is interested in getting involved with the election season, they would be the people to reach out to with questions. And now our advisors, the people that are going to help us succeed this year. So first and foremost, we have a new student government advisor. Her name is Emma Ormond. She's back in the back right there. She's awesome. Let's give her a round of applause. She's great. And then we have Kinsey Blount, who's returning as another grad advisor. He's back there as well. Let's give him a round of applause, too. And then we have Kira Settles. I don't believe she's here tonight, but she's going to be in the LSD if you guys need her. She's awesome, too. She's new this year. I'm really excited to work with all of us. So I'm going to pass it off. Actually, not quite yet. I'm about to pass it off to the boys to talk about something exciting. But first, our community shop, which is something that actually started in student government with the Basic Needs Hub, is looking for volunteers. So that is Carolina Closet, Gamecock Pantry, School Supplies, Expression Shop, etc. They are looking for volunteers that can help there. It's a really great way to serve the student body. There is such a need on campus, and I think that's just a great way to give back. Also, if you're interested in being a FROCO mentor or mentee, they sent in the group me a few weeks ago. That's on there as well. Great way to get involved. I love my mentee. She's my deputy chief of staff now, so you never know where it might lead. And we have some wonderful FROCO directors who are doing a lot of interviews, and I've heard very positive feedback. So get excited for our new members. Student Organization Fair is tomorrow. It got rescheduled from last week. If you even have 30 minutes between classes, between 11 and 2, please come out. It just looks really good to have numbers there. So we'd really appreciate you guys' help there. Sign up if you can. Also, it just helps to know who's going to be there at the table. All right, I'll pass it off to Patton and Brandon.
Alrighty, thank you guys. We just want to talk about some cool and exciting things Brendan and I have talked a little bit about over the summer. So, for the first time ever in student government history, we're going to do some intramural teams in the fall. So, show of hands, who's excited for that? Yeah. That was really lame. All right, who's excited for that? Chandler? Awesome. Chandler's excited for that. All right, at least we got some people over here. So anyway, so we have a thank you, Brian. Okay, all right. No. So anyway, next Wednesday we just have a deadline. Briefly, if y'all could just send either one of us or Theo is on there, and if contact information was on the previous slide. Yeah. And us three will just be a good contact for you guys if you want to get involved on a team. We're going to put all those teams together, team captains together, all of that good stuff. Brandon's going to go over some of the teams that are the games we can play.
So this semester we have a few opportunities. The one that Patton and I are most excited about is going to be our co-ed 7-on-7 flag football team. If any of you guys have any interest in joining that, please let us know. We would be more than happy to have you. But we're doing that. We can also do a kickball team if there's interest in that.
3v3 basketball, there's a few others.
I think pickleball, if that's your thing. We'd love to help you through student government however we can.
There's like ping pong, literally anything you could possibly think of. It isn't. Yeah. This is a really good way for us to reach out to the student community. You know, we're always looking for ways that when can we hear student concerns? We're not going to hear a lot of students' concerns when we're sitting in meetings or we're sitting in the LSU, but we can do it when we're out in the community, if we're in Strom, or there's so many other places that we could do it, and this is one place we can. So please reach out to us. We'd love to have you guys on some teams, and if you have any questions, shoot us a text. Any questions? Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, we're going to have Emma come up real quick and go over the advising structure for the year before we wrap up.
Yay, Emma! Woo!
All right, hi everyone. If I haven't met you before, my name is Emma Ormond. I'm the Assistant Director for Student Governance here. That is all to say that my position was specifically created to support you all, so if you ever need anything, please come and find me. I'm in the Leadership and Service Center, room 227E in the SG suite, if you ever need to come find me. To go over the structure, put this down. There are 4 advisors for student government, so it might be a lot to remember. If you don't remember who you're supposed to go to, come to me first and I can direct you to whoever it might be. Got it? All right. So to start off, Ambra, unfortunately she could not make it today, but she's really excited to work with you all and wants to be used as a resource as well. But she is mainly going to advise the execs and then parts of government relations. Me specifically, I'm going to do executive staff, cabinet, programming, finance, committee chairs, and government relation. So if that applies to you, I'm your gal. Kenzie will be doing election commission, senate, and inauguration. And then Kira, who unfortunately could not be here because of class, she is FROCO, so freshman counselor and officer transitions. So those are your people. Again, because it's not written anywhere, it might be hard to remember. So if you don't know who to go to, again, just come to me first and I can direct you to whoever you need to go to, or I can help you. With that, that is kind of everything needed to cover. Are there any questions? We're excited? Okay, cool.
And we've been trying to fill this position for quite some time.
Like 2 years, we haven't had an advisor, so it's really exciting. She's been so helpful to us over the summer, so please use her as a resource. She's wonderful. And our contact information is up here. If you guys don't already have it saved, please do. That's all we've got for you today, so we're going to go back to Senate. But thank you guys all so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you, guys. And senators, give like a 5 to 7 minute potty break, and you can come back. If everyone could start heading back to their seats, we're gonna bring this meeting to order just 1 second and take the roll. The Senate will now come to order. The clerk will now call the roll.
Apple, Baber, Barr, Bracy, Bryant, Calder, Creed, Darby, Durham, Galavati, Galt, Goldstein, Hamilton, Harvey, Heater, Hensley, Hurd, Kennedy, Kuhn, Kwame, Keen, Lazarenu, Malachi, Miller, Montalto, Morgan, Nelson, Wynn, Peterson, Ravi, Robinson, Sane, Badlamani, Vaught, Wenzel, Whitehead.
With a quorum being present, we are now in line for general orders of the Senate. Beginning with reports from Senate leadership, Speaker Pro Tempore Hurd is recognized to give a report on the Rules Committee.
Hello, everyone. Rules has one piece of finance legislation to report on the first calendar today, and with that, I will take any questions.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Speaker Pro Tempore? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will now hear a report from the Academics Committee. Chairwoman Creed, you are recognized.
Hi guys, the Academics Committee did not meet this week due to Labor Day, but we will continue to meet through the rest of the semester, Mondays at 7 in the LSC. Not much going on right now. Some of you may have received an email about a focus group regarding course evaluations, so if you can make it, definitely try to. And with that, I yield to questions.
The Chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Finance Committee. Chairman Kuhn, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. Finance met last Friday, and we had one allocation in which we found unanimously favorable for AAAS. I'll talk more about that later. It'd be very typical, but we had some emergency issues that we had with it. But it's all fixed out now. I'll talk more about it later. But I yield the questions.
The Chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Health and Safety Committee. Chairwoman Ravi, you are recognized.
Hey y'all, so super busy week here in the Health and Safety Committee. We didn't have any legislation to go over per se, but we talked about our initiatives for the semester. So I'm gonna be in charge of like the menstrual product initiative, and then Senator Hensley is gonna be working with Sustainability Committee, and we're gonna be doing a transportation awareness thing. So like making sure freshmen know about all the transportation resources we have on campus, mainly like bus routes and stuff like that. So we're going to be working on a presentation for U101 classes so they can show the freshmen that. So we're doing that. And then Senator Whitehead is spearheading the School of Pharmacy flu drive initiative along with our regular drive. We're going to make sure that the School of Pharmacy gets out there and vaccinates a lot of people. And then the last main initiative is Senator Whitehead. She's going to be working on diet-related things on campus, making sure we have a better database concerning diet restrictions, allergens in food and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm waiting on my other senators to kind of tell me what other initiatives they have, and if they don't, they can join any of the initiatives that we're currently working on. And with that being said, I yield to questions.
And just a small correction, Senator Miller is working on the College of Pharmacy
Sorry, yeah, I'm,
initiatives. You're good.
I'm so sorry. Sorry as well.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Inclusion and Equity Committee. Chairwoman Bracy, you are recognized.
Hey y'all, so we just had our first meeting right before Senate today, and we talked about scheduling the last minute interviews that we didn't complete in the spring, so we're gonna hopefully have those done by 7 p.m. on Tuesday. I'm currently creating a sign up genius, so I'll be able to send that email by the end of tonight. And then we're also gonna see some events that we wanna get started this year and contacting like OMSA and the Student Disabilities Office.
Does the chairwoman yield to questions?
I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Judiciary Committee. Chairman Bryant, you are recognized.
Good evening, everybody. So the Judiciary Committee met last Friday at 1 p.m. We had no legislation to review, but we instead discussed that we have one nomination from the executive branch that we didn't get to do last semester, and they've been acting in the office for the time, which is totally good. We want that filled. I spoke with the speaker, and so we're going to send her out a notice and get that going so we can get her confirmed and do the due process, and just prepping for any eventual judiciary nominations for the Constitutional Council to come through. I yield to questions.
The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
We will now hear a report from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Is there anyone from the committee that would like to give a report in Chairman Baber's place? Chairwoman Baber, excuse me. All right. Vice Chairman Harvey, you are recognized.
Okay, hi. Powers and Responsibilities met on Monday, working on interviewing new senators. I wasn't present, but I'm sure they went great. I yield to questions.
The Vice Chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Vice Chairman? And just a slight thing to add as well, they also did meet last week to conduct some interviews as well. So as of right now, we are about halfway through the pool that's signed up. So we look forward to finishing those this week, and we have more rolling in as the day goes on. So yeah. Any other questions for the Vice Chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now hear a report from the Student Life Committee. Chairwoman Malachi, you are recognized.
Hi everyone. So Student Life Committee didn't meet due to Labor Day, but our meetings will be Mondays at 6 p.m. We are going to conduct interviews once we get our finalized with the entire committee. Other than that, if my committee could stay after to meet with me just so we can touch base, so I can send out those emails this evening. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Sustainability Committee. Chairwoman Heater, you are recognized.
Good evening, everybody. So the Sustainability Committee, we met yesterday. We meet Tuesdays from 1 to 2 if anyone is interested in joining. Right now, we're brainstorming some tangible strides we can take for sustainability on campus. So in our next meeting on Tuesday at 1 in the LSC, we will be meeting with the Deputy Secretary of Sustainability. In our previous meeting, we discussed how we'll be collaborating with health and safety to work with transportation and make a U101 presentation that has information about transportation, and then from our side, some sustainability information for the freshman class. And with that, I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now hear a report from the Constitutional Council. Chief Justice Bookmeyer, you are recognized. Hearing none and seeing none, we will now hear a report from the Speaker of the Student Senate, Cameron Eubanks. Chief of Staff Courtney Tax, you are recognized.
Hey y'all. Okay, so great job on the proxies this week. I know they're not here, but this week the process went by a lot smoother, so I really appreciate it. Garnet Gate is lagging a little bit, so if I text or if I email you back and say I don't have your submission, I probably do, it's just not showing up. So just email me back and say I sent it, it's in there, and then it should be all good to go. Just a reminder, legislation is due by noon on Sundays so that rules can go over it. And again, we have our Senate retreat September 17th. It'll be in Ballroom C. And during that time, the last little bit that we've already kind of built in is a field day with all of student government where you get to meet all of freshman council. And so I really, really, really encourage you guys to take on a mentor this year. I've been able to go sit in a few FROCO interviews, and we have some very, very bright students. And so having a senator as a mentor is really going to help them and hopefully increase our freshman council to Senate pipeline so we can get those good ideas in here next year. So I yield my time to questions.
The Chief of Staff yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief of Staff? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Treasurer. Is there anyone from the Treasurer team willing to give a report? Seeing none and hearing none, we are now in line for a report from the Student Body Vice President. Chief of Staff Badinsky, you are recognized.
Did you guys miss me? But no, Vice President, we don't have a lot to update you on. Biggest thing we have going right now is, as Courtney mentioned, we're doing our FROCO interviews. Some good news there. We have more applicants now this time, and the application isn't closed than we had in the entirety of last year, so we're doing something right. Recently, we met with the committee to revise university mission statement. There are 1 or 2 undergraduate students on there, so it's cool to be able to have a student voice in this process. We recently sent out our first calendar with the SG newsletter. That's basically just SG events, university events, SG programming stuff. If anything's missing, please, please, please reach out to either one of the comm directors that I mentioned earlier. Again, you guys will be getting those PowerPoints. But on that same note, our first programming week is coming up. So if you guys have any time available at any point throughout the week, please take some time and volunteer for yourselves, for student government, and for your fellow students. With that, I yield to questions.
The Chief of Staff yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief of Staff? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body President. President Thompson, you are recognized.
First of all, thank you guys for being flexible with your time tonight and letting us use some of Senate to do SGY. I know it was really good to get everybody informed on all that stuff. Looking forward to you guys getting to interview our remaining cabinet nominees. There shouldn't be too many, but I'm really excited for you guys to get to meet them. Met with USCPD last Friday. They are really working on pushing out some safety content, so I'm going to be working with them on videos for how to use the shuttles, where to park and where to not park on campus, crosswalk safety, etc. They're also rolling out an all-inclusive resource app with the soft launch being this at the end of this fall and pushing it out in full in the spring with marketing. So keep an eye out for that. We'll definitely be helping them there. After our meeting, we came up with 3 main priorities that we could collaborate on. One of them being pedestrian safety incentives. You might see them around campus soon, standing at the end of crosswalks and rewarding students who cross the right way. Working on a game day shuttle shortcut. Sorry, that's a mouthful. Making sure that students aren't walking just because the shuttles are taking longer because they're taking the traffic roads. So I will get you guys the map for that whenever I am given it. Also working on an art project with McMaster College. USCPD is going to fund their students to paint in different spaces on campus to make sure we're preventing vandalism, etc. So that should be really exciting coming up. A lot of my back end work over this weekend and last week has been focused on parking, figuring out the most convenient places for students to park based on which college they are a part of, and to getting that information to the school so they can then disseminate it to their students, because I think dissemination of parking and dispersion of parking is how we're going to fix a lot of our issues short term, at least until we can fully get more parking centralized on campus. I also reached out to the provost office about the standardization of course grading scale. I know y'all previously had some legislation in a past Senate session about that, so excited to see what can come from that. That's just saying that like everywhere across the board should be 90 to 100. So we'll be hopefully getting some results from that. Also, me and our secretary or deputy secretary of academics have a meeting with the library about getting the library open 24 hours during finals week. Obviously, from a business perspective, it's not logical to keep it open 24/7, but during those weeks, it definitely should be. Also, I'm sure you guys have seen our faces on Blackboard. That will be going away pretty soon, and the box beneath it will be coming up to the top, which is actually what's important. It's the resource links for students. So keep an eye out for that, and make sure you're pushing that out to students as well. It's a really great way to just have access to the Student Success Center, mental health resources, et cetera, right there. And then last thing for me, there are still vacancies for the Elections Commission and Cabinet Committees, and both of those applications are live on Garnet Gate. So if y'all have any suggestions or anybody interested, please direct them to there. With that, I yield for questions.
The president yields to questions. Are there any questions for the student body president? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Y'all.
We are now in line for special orders of the Senate. Are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read?
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate requesting a 1-week extension for the following positions: legislative aide and assistant clerk.
The question is of a 1-week extension on the appointment of legislative aide and assistant clerk. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The extension is granted. Continuing on with special orders of the Senate, the clerk will now read.
Are there a communication for the Office of the Student Body Vice President concerning the resignation of Morgan Grace Steele as Director of Communications? This communication can be found online.
Received. Continuing on with special orders of the Senate, the clerk will now read.
A communication from the Office of the Student Body Vice President concerning the appointment of Catherine Hanna as Co-Director of Communications and Madeline Work as Co-Director of Communications.
The nominees are referred to the Student Life Committee. Continuing on with special orders of the Senate, the clerk will now read.
A communication from the Office of the Student Body President requesting a 1-week extension for the following position: Elections Commission member.
The question is of a 1-week extension on the appointment of Elections Commission's members. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The extension is granted. Continuing on with special orders of the Senate, the clerk will now read.
Application of Reagan Floyd, Camden Kay, and Brandon Miller to be seated in the 115th Student Senate.
These applications are referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on with special orders, the clerk will now read. Seeing no more special orders of the Senate, we are now in the motion period. And just as a point of information and reminder, the motion period is when you can join and add other committees if you needed a refresher on that. So if those times do not work for you, the times that are set, please either drop the committee and join another one or something of that realm. Are there any motions on the floor? Chairwoman Malachi. There's been a motion to remove Chairwoman Malachi from, what was the committee? From the Finance Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Any other motions on the floor? Seeing no more motions, is there a motion to dispense with the motion period? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now on the call of the introduction of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11510, introduced by Chairman Kuhn, a recommendation to permit the Senate Finance Committee to allocate funds to student organizations under the Emergency Funding Clause.
Chairman Kuhn, you are recognized to speak on the legislation.
Hello, everybody. So this week we had one allocation request totaling $5,387.59. Well, $5,387.59. What's abnormal about this piece of legislation compared to regular finance legislation is due to us starting later than like school starts in the year. AAAS had their event the first week of school. Now that is something we obviously don't want to get rid of, and under the emergency funding clause, it allows us to retroactively fund them So we thought it would be prudent to go ahead and allocate the funding to them, as they did nothing wrong and Senate wasn't in session yet. So that is the one difference between this and a regular piece of financial legislation. But with that being said, I motioned to vote on this piece of legislation by vote acclamation.
Chairman Kuhn, do you yield to questions? The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you. There's been a motion to pass by acclamation. Is there a second? All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on with the call of the introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now in the call of the uncontested calendar. The clerk will now read. Hearing none, that completes the call of the uncontested legislation. We are now in the call of the contested calendar. The clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now in line for the period of open discussion. Does any senator wish to bring a matter of attention to the body? Hearing none, we are now in line for a period of announcements. Are there any announcements from the floor? Seeing none, as always, I do have an announcement. I'm so excited that we're back in the full swing of things regarding Senate. Please, if you have any questions, need to contact anyone, need help writing legislation, need help just bouncing ideas off of each other, please contact your chairperson, contact anyone from my office. While we are in the search of our legislative aid, Chief Advisor Jeep is kind of taking over those responsibilities. So please don't hesitate to contact her for any questions on your ideas, any ways to write some legislation on them. So don't be afraid to contact anyone on my staff or anyone on your committee. We're also so excited to unveil the Get to Know You PowerPoint. Yes, I love it. I'm so excited. All of you have a slide on this PowerPoint. This PowerPoint is being used for our new Senate rebranding plan. All you need to do is fill out your slide, put an amazing picture of you that you would want shared, and some really interesting facts about you, your majors, things you like to do, hobbies. This is going to be used for our new Instagram campaign, but also it's going to be used in the hope and the search of a mentor-mentee if you choose to do so. So that PowerPoint is going to be listed under the senatorial outreach folder within our 115th Google Drive. So please fill that out over the next week. Like I said, I'm going to give a reminder about it next week, but please take the time to fill it out. It takes less than like 2 minutes. And a big thank you to my new press secretary for getting that together. A form will be going out to RSVP for the Senate retreat. Just as a reminder, this retreat is a mandatory event. So, what counts as an excused absence from this event? An emergency or family illness or a personal illness, right? With a doctor's note and religious exemption, since it is a Sunday. That being said, if you do have a religious exemption, and let's say you get out of your religious exemption around 12 or 1, our retreat goes till 4. So that means you have 3 of those hours to come to our retreat. So please make every effort to be there. On the form, that's where you'll be able to submit a kind of proof of or documentation along with your excused absence, just like you were to do an absence for a Senate session or a committee. So please look out for that and fill it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. At this retreat, we're going to be going over the strategic plan, but our office's kind of contribution to the strategic plan. We're also going to be going over different parts of the Senate manual. We're going to be doing some really fun bonding activities with freshman council. We're going to be having our first activity is an activity we did at Ole Miss at the SEC Exchange, but we're bringing it back to South Carolina and modifying it just a bit. We're doing the longest table activity with freshman council when we eat lunch. It is a bring your own lunch situation, so it's just like middle school, high school, now even college. You pack yourself a lunch or go get lunch from Russell House. Qdoba just opened, Halal Shack just opened. Amazing places. But it's a bring your own lunch, and freshman council is also going to bring their own lunch. And it's just going to be a really fun event. You get to know your possible mentees. And then they will go and do their retreat, we'll do ours, and then we'll meet back up for the field day at the Strom Fields. But other than that, we're going to be doing some activities around legislation. We're going to be planning some joint committee legislation, and we're also going to be doing a Robert's Rules activity where you can win up to $70 worth in gift cards. So, you want to participate, because who doesn't want an Olive Garden gift card that's like $40, okay? I mean, Olive Garden's really good. But we've also got an 1801 Grill gift card. We got an Olive Garden gift card. We've got a Chick-fil-A gift card. We've got so many different prizes to incentivize you on coming. So please, do us the honor and grace us with your presence. That would be much appreciated. And a couple other just short developments from my office. I just met with the RHA president, Claire Haynes, today to finalize logistics of a new initiative that's coming from my office, and that is joint resolutions. This has been in the works for a really long time, and I'm super excited that we have finally kind of come to a consensus on logistics and the template. So we are going to be looking for some senators to sponsor some joint resolutions with our sister body. I can get into more of the specifics, like rules. I'll be going over the specifics this coming Sunday. But it's going to be a really, really awesome opportunity to have our student voice amplified by both presidents, the Senate president of their body and myself, plus the senators from their body and ours, voting on and signing this piece of legislation. And when it goes to the Board of Trustees, when it goes to Rex Tolliver, when it goes to all the stakeholders on campus, both bodies saying the same thing is going to be an amazing thing for the student body and our advocacy power. So I'm super excited about that. We are also going to be bringing back the RHA report. President Haynes is going to come and give the report herself. She is going to be listed under the special guest every week, and I'm going to obviously invite her every week, and she's going to come and give reports on what her body is doing legislation-wise, but also to appeal to some of you guys about some ways that you could partner on joint resolutions with their senators as well. And also going to talk about programming, so if you have any questions for her, she will be starting her report on September 20th, and we're super excited to have her in the body. And then just like she's coming over here, myself and President Thompson are also making our way over to RHA's Senate to give a report on the amazing things that you guys are doing. So we're super excited about this new collaboration with RHA and the way that it will positively affect our voice on campus. Also next week, delegations and delegation chairpersons will be formed and nominated and voted on next Senate session. So if you're interested in being a delegation chairperson of your college, so that's essentially being a chairperson of your senators within your college. They work on constituency events and different things like that. They also partner with my new director of senatorial outreach, Sophie Sans over here. But if you are interested in taking that leadership position, please contact myself or Courtney. We will be finalizing that list and getting it over to our wonderful speaker pro tempore for final checks this week. Let's see. And with my final thing is obviously to write more legislation, right? We're off to a little bit of a slow start, but everyone's getting really back into the school, and with Labor Day weekend, that didn't help much. But really, really lean on your chairpersons, lean on everybody and your committees, and lean on my staff, and let's get some amazing legislation that'll actually impact the student experience up here, right? I'm so excited that our first finance legislation was passed by acclamation tonight. AAAS, their event was amazing. If you weren't able to go out to the cookout, it seemed like they impacted a lot of students to that event, and so I'm just over the moon ecstatic that we were able to fund it and their full request. So as those keep coming, please, be active senators, ask questions about the allocation request, ask questions about the bill, but also be active senators in the writing and passage of legislation, right? Again, if you need any help, please contact my office. And with that, I will yield to questions. Chairwoman Ravi. Awesome. Great question. It is casual because we will be doing a field day at 2 o'clock. So please dress field day appropriate. And what I mean by field day is like imagine elementary school, like the with egg spoon races, the snow cones, all that really, really fun stuff. So I dressed to be outside. Yeah. Chairwoman Creed, you are recognized. September 17th from 11 to 4 in Ballroom C. Any other questions? Alrighty. Are there any other announcements from the floor? Seeing none with no further announcements, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. The Senate will now stand adjourned until Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. And if you are in Student Life Committee, I see some of you. Do not leave. Please come up to the front for Chairwoman Malachi. Thank you so much. Right. Okay, you're good to go. Thank you. Okay. Oh, wait, can you put, yeah. Give me 1 sec. Actually, I'm gonna text